Now it's my pleasure to turn it over to James. I'm going to go ahead and introduce James Morehead here to the microphone, which will have to be adjusted. James Morehead is a poet laureate emeritus of Dublin, California, host of the Viewless Wings poetry podcast, and has published several poetry collections, including The Plague Doctor, Tethered was transformed into an award-winning animated short film, Twilight in the Sculpture Forest, which won Best Documentary at the Los Angeles Poetry Film Festival, and Gallery was set to music for baritone and piano. He has been published in The Nation, Beyond Words, Citron Review, Ekphrastic Review, Loud Coffee Press, Havoc, and many others. James has performed in Patagonia's Poet Laureate Celebration, NPR's Poetically Yours, and he was a guest poet at the 20th Annual Haiku Festival. Everyone, please help me and welcome James.
Yes, I am the breaker of microphone stands, which is why I have to go last. All right, I've got a few poems to read. Some from my books, which, if you're interested in the signed copy, I will devalue it with my signature, happily outdoors. And I'll read a couple from my published books, and then a couple new things from my next book I'm working on. So this poem was inspired by my older daughter. My younger daughter's here, but my older daughter is off with her husband in Las Vegas. And this is inspired by her time in the theater. Theaters right now are under attack. Federal government doesn't think the arts is important, so we have to support the arts, really important. My parents are also musicians. This is Shadow's play. The shadow enters on cue, behind viewers row on row, hands set, shoulders still, following players, spotlit forms and well-worn phrases projected over the darkened theater. The shadow floats unseen between a couple's hands entwined, a child tugging with whispered questions, and a solitary critic quietly scribbling. The shadow slips delicately along the stage, invisible to the spotlight's tracking beam and illuminated twinkles of drifting dust. But the stage manager, suspicious, is watchful from a booth tucked high above, adjusts her squinting glasses, searching while the apparition plays tricks in the orchestra pit. The shadow, sensing, drifts stage right, tucks behind a gilded throne adorned with plastic jewels, casting deceptive sparkles no more real than a silhouette's touch. And with that, the shadow melts into the stage, among the words and phrases, masquerade and dancers, foiled fighters' tears and fools' laughter. Her voice long since hidden and forgotten, her steps no longer beholden to blocking, her beating heart just a trick of light that vanishes in curtained darkness. So this next poem is inspired by a song that I completely love, and it got me pretty melancholic as I was listening to it one day over and over and over, and had to write a poem about it. Memento Mori, Evermore. The Battle of Evermore starts to play. Jimmy Page on mandolin, each phrase filled with melancholy, voices in ballet, a duet sung years ago, haunting still. Ere I listen to this song, its story spun from slender chords, I pause, am present, aware again of Memento Mori, the ring race in black riding death's descent. They scatter with the refrain, bring it back, incanted with such sorrow. Plant's rich voice replaces silence, attacks as if knowing there is no tomorrow. Eyes close, tears well, I'm lost inside each verse until notes fall and in darkness disperse. I'm going to do another theater poem that I love to read. This is a little lighter, true story. That time I was left for dead downstage. 8th grade, my big break. The play was something Western. I had a single line and every actor's dream, a dramatic death. I had to learn how to act with a beard glued on in pieces, the fake hair tickling the bottom of my nose. I wore it home for a day to get used to the feel. My family swallowed giggles during dinner. Opening night approached. My heart raced, imagining the curtain opening on 100 seated shadows. That single line I kept forgetting. Whispers from the director. Time ran out, hurried discussions. It was decided my debut line was cut. With a full beard glued on in pieces, tickling the bottom of my nose, a long black coat and top hat, boots one size too big. I walked into the spotlight, said nothing, was shot and left for dead at the edge of the stage. I remember lying there, unable to move, eyes closed, silently mouthing my line over and over and over, sensing classmates' footsteps avoiding my corpse. All right, I'm going to read 3 poems from the book I'm working on. My next book is going to be a tour of San Francisco Bay Area museums through poetry. So I'm visiting pretty much every museum in the Bay Area. Museums, like anything artistic, are under attack from the federal government. And so you must support museums of all sizes, especially the smaller museums, if you want them to survive. And this is a museum not too far from here. You know me as Rosie. I crouched, welding helmet lowered to shield me from blinding seams of Liberty ship steel, while he captured me in profile for 10,000 cardstock that screamed, "The more women at work, the sooner we win." I could have been called Evelyn, Grace, or Josie, but he called me Rosie, ankles covered by crusted boots, overalls dust-drenched, and hands leather-gloved for preventing scalds. No delicate lace for society balls. I'm proud. My husband wants me to do my part. Norman Rockwell saw me relaxing, riveter draped across my lap, and lunch break sandwich in hand. Trampled Mein Kampf held down by my feet under a background of stars and stripes. Longing won't bring him back sooner. Get a war job. See your U.S. Employment Service. But it's J. Howard's Miller's Rosie that you remember. My ever-flexing forearm and clenched fist, painted nails and lips, polka dot bandana, and determined stare. We can do it. Desperation drove this diversity for a time, until war's end, I was torn down and discarded. And that's after the Rosie the Riveter National Historical Park in Richmond, California. So both of these poems are inspired by a recent visit to the San Jose Museum of Art. Beautiful museum. It's very sparse. It's got high quality bar. It's not something where you walk in and you get halfway through and you've been drenched by art and you can't take it anymore and you leave. No, you have time to linger on every single piece. The body in a clear plastic bag on the floor of a windowless white gallery jolted me as I turned the corner. Like the body I discovered as a 10-year-old delivering papers one pre-dawn morning in Toronto. But this body is sculpted resin and museum wax, not rotting flesh. The artist's self-portrait curled catatonic with a black cap, shoes and overalls, in a bag cinched like a gift, and a plume of plastic exploding upwards for the voyeurs paused beside me. And that's inspired by mid-career artist Josh Klein, 2024, San Jose Museum of Art. 2 more, and then we will do a raffle. Buried in the ashen pile, I'm drawn to the dead writhe of charcoal-colored corpses, of howling skulls and ribcage scars, piled in fierce strokes of black and gray. Was this her waking dream? When schizophrenia took my aunt and snuffed dark memories with my mother when they posed playful in Kodak black and white. If you could see what she sees as you avoided her on the streets of Toronto, would you pause for a stranger trapped in darkness? And that's after Nuclear Stockpile by Robert Arneson, San Jose Museum of Art. All right, 2 more from my most recent book, Blade Doctor, on sale. How I Found You When the Periodolia Fled. First, you were concealed in bark, while over your shoulder the Golden Gate spit embers ignited by midsummer sun. Then I followed your slender finger to a herd of wild horses in the sky, mustangs drawn from ribbons of cirrus, galloping through cumulus with billowing manes of crystal. We stopped for cappuccino, and floating in the foam, an intimate apparition replaced the signature tulip. Startled, I whisked it away. You shimmered in the sculpted eyes of a sea creature dressed with scales, as needles dipped with powdered rust struck my skin again and again, carving a rocket-pierced heart. Later, we searched for sea glass while tides painted, then erased mountain-like ridges in fading blacks and shifting grays, until the Earth's rotation stole you away. Thank you. One more that I love to read. I have it memorized, and I just jinxed myself by saying that. She is San Francisco in shades of pink and blue, a painted lady with combat boots and attitude. She wears sweatshirts in summer, chilled by salt-soaked fog spilling over evening tides. You might catch a glimpse of her rollerblading across the Golden Gate as you sail beneath suspended steel into Pacific swells. She is portraits in the young, a cable car's clang, a skate punk sprayed in neon green who runs from bay to breakers or swirls around a rainbow flag on Market Street in June. She is San Francisco, spun with threads of sunset hues and wisps of endless dune. Thank you so much for being wonderful.